Okay, y'all, so for this album is super easy. Alright, what you're going to need, and I'm going to use medium weight chipboard. Alright, you're going to need one piece that is 2 by 6 1/4. You're going to need two pieces that are 5 1/2 by 6 1/4. Okay, 5 1/2 by 6 1/4. Alright, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two pieces of 8 1/2 by 11. Alright, and I'm just using white cardstock here. And I've already added score tape to one of my pieces. So now I need to get my scoreboard. Let me find it here. Alright, so I'm just going to take my scoreboard, and all I'm doing with my scoreboard, y'all, is I'm just going to line up my papers, and that helps it that helps it become straight and even at the top. Alright, so I'm going to put one of my pieces at the 6 1/4. Okay, so I'm at the 6 1/4, so now I know this piece here needs to go to the 6 because I'm using 1/4 inch score tape. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm butting it up against the top here. Okay, and I'm just holding it up with my thumb. I'm just going to move it over to the 6 and drop it. Alright, take your bone folder, press it down. Alright, and see, that just gives you a nice clean edge. Okay. Now, I'm going to take my chipboard. I'm just going to place it just like this. Alright, and I'm going to take my spine piece here, and I'm going to place it right along this seam. Alright, so I'm just going to center it up and place it right along that seam. Then I'm going to do about a 1/4 inch spacing between each of my side pieces. And again, you want your 5 1/2 your 5 1/2 side at the bottom and at the top. Okay, your 6 1/4 is at the side. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down. Alright, this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to glue this down, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have my chipboard adhered to my cardstock, alright, I want to show you. See how much extra I have here and over here? Alright, I'm just going to take my trimmer, and I'm just going to use this one. And I apologize for the glare. Alright, I'm just going to take my trimmer here, and I'm just going to eyeball it. And I'm going to cut and leave about 1 inch. Alright, so that's going to, you know, be a little easier to work with whenever I wrap it. Okay, and you see here, this side here is wider than this side. That's no big deal. You know, that's not going to bother me. Alright, so now I'm just going to take my little stylus here, and you can use your bone folder, you can use whatever you have. And I'm just going to go along the edge of my cardstock and chipboard here. Alright, and what this does is it just helps the cardstock fold up better when you wrap your album. Okay, now I'm just going to take it, I'm just going to press it, and then just press it down. Alright, I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Alright, so now I'm just going to bend it up. I'm just going to fold this over. Alright, I'm going to flip it around. Same thing. I'm just going to bend it over. Alright, now I need to cut off these little squares here that it's left me. So I'm just going to take my scissors. I'm just going to cut, and when you do this, make sure now you don't cut all the way to the chipboard. Okay, so see here, I have just a little bit left of the cardstock here, so make sure now you don't cut all the way to the chipboard. And if you do, they make little metal book corners that you can buy, but honestly, y'all, it's no big deal. To me, it's not anyway. You know, I've said this before, crafting is never perfect. Okay, so now this is what we have. Alright, now I'm going to take and add score tape along the edges of my cardstock as well as on the insides of my chipboard. Alright, I'm going to add my score tape, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have my score tape on, I wanted to show y'all before I peeled it off. Okay, I have added an extra piece here, 2 extra pieces here on the inside of the spine, and an extra piece here. Alright, and the reason why I've done that is so whenever I add my paper on top, it is not going to bubble or wrinkle. You know, sometimes it will, but most of the time if you add extra score tape, then it really won't. Alright, so I'm just going to peel all of these off. And I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'll go ahead and do it now because I only have, alright, I'm going to peel this off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have all of my score tape peeled off, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my glue here and I'm going to run it right along the top of the chipboard on the cardstock there, right up the edges and right on top of that score tape. Okay, and then all in between. Alright, I'm going to turn it sideways. Now I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to press that cardstock up against that chipboard. Okay, now I'm going to take my fingers, spread them out, pull it down. Okay, take my bone folder, press it down, and I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing here. Just going to take my glue along the edge, right on top of that score tape, all in the middle. Okay, again, I got a bit of glue there and there, so I'm going to get that up first. Alright, I'm going to turn it sideways, take my bone folder, pull this down, burnish it down. Alright, now I'm going to do the side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the tip of my bone folder, or you can use your fingernail, or you know, whatever you have, and just bend that cardstock down. Okay, here on the bottom, I'm just going to bend it up. Alright, I'm going to turn it around, do the same thing here. Just going to pull that cardstock down, and here I'm just going to push it up. Okay, now I'm just going to take my glue, run it along the edge here, and all in between. Take my bone folder, press that cardstock up against that chipboard, press it down, and burnish. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Add my glue. All in the middle. Alright, take my bone folder. Press it down. And burnish. Okay, now this is what we have. Alright, so now we have the outside of our album wrap. Now I want to add a piece here on the inside. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my ATG tape and I'm going to take a piece that is 5 3/4 by 11. Okay, and I'm going to show you now. This is not going to go all the way to the edge here. So you see I'm going to have a little bit of the cardstock showing, but that's no big deal because I am going to cover it. Alright, so I'm just going to take my ATG, run along this 5 3/4 by 11. Okay, and I'm trying not to shake the camera, and if I do, I apologize. So I'm just going to run my tape everywhere. Okay, and I'm also going to add some glue on top of this. Alright, so now I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to add glue right on top of that score tape. Okay, and you want to go pretty close to the edge here. Alright, now I'm just going to run it all in between. Alright, I'm going to take my album cover here. Alright, I'm going to run it, you know, just right over top in the center here. And if you want to, you can make your little square box here. Just run it all in this box. But what you want to do is you want to make sure, you know, you get it on the edges. So when you do place this down and you press everything really, really well, you're not going to get your cracks and bubbles. Alright, so now I'm just going to take this. I'm going to center it up. And remember, I'm going to have some space on the two sides here. Alright, when you have it where you want it, press it down. Alright, I got some glue there. Take your bone folder, press it down really, 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 really well. everywhere. Okay. Now, when you have it pressed down really, really good, alright, I'm going to take my left hand and I'm just going to hold up my album here. I'm going to take my bone folder and start pressing and working. What I'm doing is I'm bending with my left hand and I'm working with my right hand here. Alright, I'm just going to bend. When you find that crease, you bend slowly, okay? And see how I don't have any bubbles there, or you know, it's flat right here, and that's why you want to add that extra adhesive. Alright, again, I'm just going to take my hand under here. I'm just going to work that paper. When I find that crease there, I'm going to fold and bend. Alright, so now this is what you have. And see, we don't have any bubbles on our sides here. Okay, and if you notice some bubbles, just press them out. Okay, just take your bone folder, press them out. Alright, that's all you got to do, is just work that paper. Alright, but now this is what we have. So now we have our album covered inside and out. Alright, now I'm going to work on the front inside cover. What you're going to need a piece that is 6 by 11. Okay, on your 11-inch side, you're going to score it a half, and you're going to score it 5 7/8. Okay, and your 5 7/8 mark is going to be, let me get it to focus here. 5 7/8 is in between the 5 3/4 and the 6. Okay, so, sorry about that. Alright, so now I'm just going to fold down and burnish on my little 1/2 inch. Alright, burnish it down. Now I'm going to take it with my 1/2 inch on my table. I'm going to take this side and fold it up. Alright, and burnish it. And you see here, I've already went ahead and used my punch. So, go ahead. If you're going to use a punch, go ahead and do that. If not, don't worry about it. Alright, so now I'm just going to take this piece. Alright, I'm going to add my glue to my little 1/2 inch piece here. And I'm going to add it right here on the right hand side. Alright, I'm not going all the way to the edge, but I'm going to go pretty close to the edge here. Alright, and I'm just going to center it up because it's not going to be all the way to the top or bottom. Okay, so when you have it where you want it, press it down. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to burnish it down. Okay. Now, I have a flap that goes to the left. Alright, now I'm going to add a flap on top of this flap. So now I need a piece that is 5 1/2 by 11. On your 11-inch side, you're going to score it a half, and again, you're going to score it 5 7/8. Okay, same thing. Fold down your 1/2 inch piece, fold and burnish. Alright, with your 1/2 inch piece on the table, you're going to fold this side up. Alright, press and burnish. Now, I'm going to take it and I'm going to add it right here to the right hand side of this top flap. Alright, again, you're not going all the way to the top or the bottom. So you're going to just center it up. Unless you want to go to the top or bottom. Now, that is your choice. Okay. So I'm going to have about 1/4 inch from the top and 1/4 inch from the bottom. Okay. Now, press and burnish. Okay, I'm going to open it up, burnish it down there. Alright, so now, this is what I have. Alright, so I have a flap to the left, flap to the right, flap to the right, and all this will open up to the left. Alright, now, I'm going to add a pocket. And I'm going to add a pocket here. Okay, but I need to add my design paper before I add my pocket. So let me go ahead and cut a piece of design paper, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have my design paper added down, I wanted to show y'all too. I'm going to use a 6 by 6 paper pad for this album, and if I run out of paper, I also have this 12 by 12 pack. Alright, but I'm going to see how far I can get using a 6 by 6 paper pad. Okay, and this pad is by Echo Park, and this is called Just Married. Okay, and I did get this from Country Craft Creations, but let me tell you now, I bought this when it was on sale, so I'm not sure if it is still in stock or not. So it may not be in stock, but I wanted to show you this is what I'm using. Alright, so I have my design paper down. Now I'm going to add a pocket right here. Alright, my pocket is going to be 2.5 by 6 1/4. On your 6 1/4 inch side, you're going to score it a half, rotate around, score it a half. Alright, I'm going to fold down and burnish both of my little score marks. Okay, and I'm also going to use the punch that I used on my little flaps here, and this is a Martha Stewart punch. Okay, and I'm not sure the name of it. It'll be some type of lace or something like that. Alright, but I'm just going to take it and place it in, and y'all, I like to eyeball mine. Okay, I'm not really a measurer. I like to eyeball stuff. Alright, so I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to punch it out. And if you don't have a punch, y'all don't worry about it, because it'll be just as cute if it is straight. Okay? So now that I have it punched out, I'm going to open up my flaps. I'm going to add glue to my 2 little 1/2 inch pieces here. Okay? I'm also going to add glue to the bottom. Alright, so right here along the bottom, I'm just going to add just a strip of glue there. Alright, I'm going to take it all the way to the bottom. Okay, now I'm just going to place it down. When I have it where I want it, I'm going to press it down and burnish. Alrighty. Now, I'm also going to take just a piece here and run up in here, because I see that I have some glue coming out and I don't want it to stick. Alright, so now I have a pocket here and my flaps. Okay, so this time I'm going to work on the back. Okay, so now we're working on the back inside cover. Okay, y'all, so you see here I've already added my design paper to the back inside. Alright, so now what you're going to need, we're going to make an expandable pocket. Okay, so you're going to need a piece that's 5.5 by 8. Alright, on your 8 inch side, okay, you're going to score at a half, 1, 1.5, 6.5, 7, and 7.5. Okay, so we're going to score 8 inch side, half, 1, 1.5, 6.5, 7, 7.5. Okay, then you're going to turn it with your 5.5 inch is at the top now. Okay, you're going to score it at a half. Alright, I hope that's making sense. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to fold. Okay, and I like to start on the crease, the fold mark here, this closest to our pocket. Okay, so I'm just going to take it, fold it just like this. Alright, so now you have the larger, this is like your 1.5 inch flap. Okay, so it's sticking up, so it's facing you. Alright, we're going to lay it down, fold towards you, fold back towards the pocket. Okay, and sometimes it will fold right, sometimes it does not, and you can either struggle with it or deal with it, and I'm just going to deal with it. Alright, so now we're going to do this side. Okay, we're going to fold on that first score line that's closest to the pocket there. Okay, so now this is what you have. Alright, so you lay it down, you fold your next score line towards you, press it down, you fold your last score line back in towards the pocket, press it down. Okay, so now this is what you have. Alright, now I'm going to open this up because I should have done this beforehand. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off these little squares here at the bottom. Alright, I'm just going to cut all 3 of them off. So I'm going to angle it just like I do a regular pocket. And I'm just going to cut straight across on the top of that score line. Okay, so again on this side, I'm just going to angle. Alright, and you see the, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, the little score line there. Alright, here, I'll bend it. Alright, see, we're going to cut right on top. Okay, and I just like to cut right straight across. Okay, now this is what you have. Alright, now we're going to take and fold our little bottom score line. Fold and burnish it. Okay, so now this is what you have. Alright, now I'm going to open up my little flap here. Okay, I'm going to press these down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and place it right on top. Okay, and if it does not fold over easily, you may want to trim a little more off of your little flaps there. Okay, so I'm just going to add just a little glue here. And I'm just going to take it and just tack it down. I just like to tack down my corners because it makes it easier when you place it in your album. Alright, so now this is what we have. So I'm going to pull my album back. Now I'm going to add glue to all three sides. Oh no, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to punch it. So you'll see it's no big deal. We'll just have a pocket that isn't punched. Okay, so if you're going to use a decorative punch, you may want to punch it before you add your glue. Alright, now I'm just going to take it. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. But I'm going to have design paper on both sides here. Okay, and again, y'all, I like to eyeball mine. So when you have it where you want it, press it down and burnish. Okay. Now we have an expandable pocket. Alright, and I'm not going to put a closure on this. I'm going to leave it just like this because, I kind of like that. Alright, so make sure it's burnished down really, really well. And now we have our front inside done and our back inside done. Alright, now I'm going to work on the spine piece here. Okay, so for the spine you're going to need, alright, a piece that is 1 3/8 by 5 7/8. Alright, you're going to score it on two sides. Okay, so this is 1 3/8 by 5 7/8. Alright, you're going to score it a half, rotate around, score it a half. Okay, then you're going to need a piece that is 2 1/4 by 5 7/8. Alright, 2 1/4, 5 7/8. Alright, you're going to score it a half, rotate around, score it a half. Okay, so this is your binding. Alright, now before I bend anything up, I'm going to place it on here because I want to show you. Okay, you're going to have just a tiny amount. Let me get my little pokey tool here. Just a tiny bit overhang on each side. Alright, I hope that's going to show up here. Alright, see? When you lay it down flat, this is what it's going to look like. So normally, I like to add my centerpiece in the middle, but this one is a little bit longer, so you're going to go just a hair over on both sides. Okay? So I'm going to peel off my score tape. And again, I'm not folding anything up yet. Alright, I'm going to take my glue and add right on top of that score tape. Make sure you don't go over your score lines. Okay, you want this glue in the middle. Alright, now I'm going to turn this sideways so I can see it. I'm just going to place it right in between my two score lines. Alright, let me hold it up this way so I can see. Okay, when you have it where you want it, press it down and burnish. See that glue coming out? That's no big deal. You want that glue to come out because then you know that it's glued all the way to the edges. Okay, light that up though before I stick my album in it. Alright, so now I'm going to place it in my album. Alright, I want to dry fit it. And again, y'all, I'm not folding anything up yet. Okay, so I'm just going to dry fit it right in the middle here. Okay. And now, I know it's going to work, so I'm going to take my score tape off the back. And I'm also going to add my glue, my wet glue. Okay, so I'm just going to take my glue, add it right on top of that score tape. And again, don't go over your score lines. Okay. I'm just going to add glue all in the middle here. Okay, now I'm going to take my album and I'm going to open up this flap so I don't, accidentally glue anything by accident if I move it or, drop it or something. Okay, now I'm just going to take it, and again, y'all, I'm eyeballing. Alright, and what I'm doing is I'm placing it, I'm eyeballing here and here, and again on my little score lines here, my crease marks. Alright, make sure I have it where I want it. Alright, when you have it where you want it, press it down, burnish. Okay, now I'm going to turn it sideways, and now I'm just going to fold up my little score lines, my little flaps here. Okay, so now this is what you have. Now we have our little binding in. Okay, so just fold them up. And there we go. Now we have our front and back done, and now we have our binding in. Okay, so now we're going to work on our pages. Okay, so now to add our pages, what you're going to need, you're going to need a piece that is 5 1/4 by 6. Alright, 5 1/4 by 6. You're going to need a piece that is 5 1/4 by 7. Alright, 5 1/4 by 7. Okay, on your 7-inch side, you're going to score it a half, rotate around, score it a half. Alright, we're going to fold down and burnish. Y'all, I apologize, my dog is wanting to play, so she brought me her squeaky. Okay, so I folded down and burnished. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take on my 5 1/4 inch side, I want that to be at the top or the bottom. Alright, well, top and bottom. Okay, so now this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add glue to one of our 1/2 inch pieces here. And I like to start at the bottom. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my other piece here and I'm just going to lay it right on top. And I kind of like to line it up before I press it down all the way. Okay, when you have it where you want it, press it down and burnish. Okay, so now this is what you have. Alright, I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to add glue to this little flap. Okay, so I'm just going to take and add my glue. And then I'm going to fold this down. Okay, and then I'm going to burnish. Alright, and again, y'all, if you have glue come out, see how here I have some glue? I'm just going to wipe that off. Okay, make sure I get it off of my table. Alright, now I have a page base. Alright, and I've already done my other 3. So now I have 4 page bases. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to add these little flaps on here. Alright, and these flaps, I forgot to write it down, we're going to measure alright, they're going to be 5 by 4. Alright, so it's going to be 4 by 5. Okay, on your 5-inch side, okay, you're going to score it a half. Okay, so your 5 inches at the top, you're going to score it a half. Okay, and I have, let me count how many of these I have. Hold on just a minute. Okay, I have 16 flaps that are 4 by 5, and I've already punched my sides here. Okay, and this is pretty much up to you. Alright, what I've done is I'm going to take 2 flaps per page. Alright, so this is the front of my page. Alright, so I'm going to take a flap, fold it down and burnish it. Alright, I'm going to take another one, fold it down and burnish it. And this is totally optional. You can add 4 flaps, you can add 3 flaps, you can add 1 flap. Okay, I have 2 flaps I'm going to put on the front, 2 flaps I'm going to put on the back. Alright, you decide on where you want to put these flaps. You can put one here at the top, here at the bottom. Alright, you can put them on the sides, you can put, you know, if you want to add 4 flaps, you can put one on the right side, one on the left side, one on top, one on the bottom. This is totally your choice. I wanted to make this album, you know, where you can kind of play around with it. And, you know, this is, again, for beginners, because I like to make albums that are for beginners. But this is, you know, kind of you put your stamp on it. You know, if you want 1 flap, here, you just add 1 flap. You can add it to the top. You can add it to the side. You know, you put however many flaps you want per page. But I'm going to do 16, so I'm going to have 2 per page. Alright, but I'm not going to have like any set position, okay? I'm just going to take and add some glue to my little 1/2 inch piece here. Alright, this one I'm going to take to the left hand side all the way to the left, and I'm going to go down about 1/4 inch. Alright, I'm going to put it down and burnish. Okay, I'm going to open that up. I'm going to add some glue to my next little 1/2 inch flap. Okay, now this time I'm going to go to the right hand side. I'm going to go up about 1/4 inch. Alright. I'm going to press it down and burnish. Okay, so now that's going to give me a flap to the right, flap to the left. Alright, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to take 2 more flaps. And again, you can put these flaps wherever you want to. This time, I'm going to put one on the top and one on the bottom. Okay, so I'm just going to take and add my glue. Alright, this one I'll go all the way to the top. I'm just going to center it up. Press it down. Burnish. Alright, I'm going to take my next little flap. Add my glue. Alright, I'm going to take it to the bottom. Okay, and I want to kind of make sure, you know, it's lined up evenly with this one. So I'm just going to lay it down lightly. Okay, when I have it where I want it, then I'll press it down and burnish. Okay, now I'm going to set this one to the side. I'm going to take another page base. I'm going to take 2 more flaps. And again, I'm just going to randomly put them on here. Alright, so this time I'm going to go, let's see, this time I will add 1 to, let's see here, we'll go all the way to the very top, to the right hand side. Okay. Press it down and burnish. Now I'm going to take another one. Alright, and then this one I'm just going to take to the bottom left hand side. So you see, y'all, there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I'm just placing flaps on. You know, I don't have any pockets or anything special for this album, so, you know, all I have are flaps. Alright, I'm going to flip it over, take 2 more flaps, fold and burnish. And again, y'all, you are more than welcome to put 3 or 4 flaps on here, or just 1 flap. You know, if you're comfortable with just one, just put 1. Alright, and this time I will go to the, let's see, to the bottom left hand corner. Okay. And I'll take this one to the top right hand corner and make it flap up. So this way, y'all, you know, you have fun. Play around with it. Make it your own. You're more than welcome, you know, to put your flaps like I have mine. But I want to give you options. You know, I want you to have fun when you're creating. And don't think, you know, oh my God, it's got to be exactly like that. You know, it does not have to be exactly, you know, like anybody's. Any tutorial that you follow, a lot of times, you know, you like that tutorial and you love the way that album looks, but there's just a little something, you know, you want to change. So go ahead and change it. You know, don't feel like just because you're following someone's tutorial that you have to make it exactly like theirs, because you don't. It is your album. Make it your own. Alright, so this one I'm going to add right here in the center. Maybe not exactly the center, but you know, just somewhere on my little page. I'll open it up, and my next little flap. Alright, and I'm going to place it evenly with this one. Okay. I'm just going to take it, and you know, when you have them spaced together like this and you want them to be right, you know, the same here and here, make sure that you take your time. Okay. And now I'm just going to flip it over, take 2 more flaps. And y'all see how easy this is? This is perfect for beginners. This is perfect for anybody. And these little albums can make good little craft fair ideas. You know, there's not much to do in the album, you know, flaps here and there. Alright, let's see, this time I'll take it, let's see, let's do this. We'll take one here. Alright. I'm just going to flip it up. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to do this like a waterfall. So instead of adding my glue on the top, I'm going to add it underneath here. Okay, I'm going to add it right on top here. Okay, before I press it down, make sure it is even. Okay, I'm just going to fold this up, press it down. So see, this one, I have 2 flaps, you know, that are like a waterfall. So, you know, if you want to add more on here, go right ahead. Alright, and then I'm going to take my last page base. Alright, I'm going to take 2 more flaps. And I'm just going to randomly place these on here. Alright, so I'm just going to take this one, and I'm going to go not all the way to the right, but I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. Okay, and then I'll take another one. Alright, and I'm going to go to the top, not all the way to the left. I'm going to have a little spacing there. Okay, press and burnish. Alright, I'm going to flip it over. I have 2 more flaps. Okay, now these I'm just going to add my glue. Alright, and let's see here. I'm trying to think of a way that I haven't done yet. I don't know here. We'll just place it to the left. And then we'll open this one up. Place this one right on top of it. A little bit in, so I'm not on that score line. Okay, so see, now you have 2 flaps on this one that go to the left. Alright, so again, y'all, put your flaps wherever you want to. You know, if you like that the way that I've done these little flaps, you know, put them exactly like I have mine. You know, just kind of play around, put them wherever you want to, and just have fun with it. Alright, now I'm going to take my album. Okay, I'm going to move my glue over, and I'm going to place score tape on both sides of my little 1/2 inch flaps here on my binding pieces. Alright, so I'm going to add my score tape to both sides, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now to place your pocket on. Alright, what you're going to do is you're just going to open it up. Okay, so you have your tunnel. Alright, I've already added my score tape on mine, but I'm just going to dry fit it first. Okay, so I'm just going to place it right on top and make sure that it's going to fit. Okay, I want to lay it down and make sure it's going to fit that way as well. Alright, so I know it's going to fit. Okay, if you get it and it's really tight and snug, all you have to do is just cut the edges of your spine piece here like this. Just take it and trim it off just like that. Okay, so all you have to do is just angle it. Mine fit, you know, pretty good, but I want to show you, you know, if you do have a snug fit, just angle it off. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, and I like to start at the back. Okay, so I'm just going to take my score tape off of the front. Okay, I'm going to add some glue right on top of that score tape. Okay, and I'm also going to go down a little bit on my piece here. Make sure now you don't go all the way to your score line with your glue. Alright, I'm just going to take and open up my little tunnel here. Alright, I got it open. I'm just going to slide it right on top. Okay, I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to move it towards me so I can see. Alright, when you have it where you want it, press it down. Okay, I'm going to open up this flap so I can press it down really good. Take my bone folder, press down. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over. Okay, I'm going to take my pokey tool and I'm just going to hold this up. Okay, take my pokey tool in here and dig the backing off of that score tape. When you do that, be careful that you're not digging, you know, into your paper. So there may be an easier way to do this. This is just how I do mine. Alright, I'm adding my glue up in there. Press it down. And burnish. Alright, so that's how I add my pockets. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going and then I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, so all of our pages are in our album now. Alright, so now we have our pages done, our back is done, our front is done. Alright, the only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to add photo mats in each page. And they're going to be 4 3/4 by 5 1/2. Alright, so each page will get a photo mat. It just slides in just like that. Alright, I am going to punch the edges of mine. And that's pretty much it. So now I'm going to add my seam binding here. Let me, I'm just going to put a little X here so I don't forget to add my seam binding here and here. Alright, so that's going to be my closure. So that's it, y'all. This album is so super cute and so simple. I'm not going to add magnets or any type of little closures. You are more than welcome to. I'm just not going to. I like the album just like this. So you see here, you have plenty of space in here to add photos. Because, you know, once you add your photos in your design paper, it will thicken up a little bit. So, super easy and perfect for beginners. And I hope everyone enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know what you think. Leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.